This is Sky News Today with Wilfred Frost. It's 10 o'clock. Your headlines. Manhunt in Maine. The city of Lewiston in lockdown after a shooter kills at least 15 people at a bar and bowling alley. Running for their lives, the sound of gunshots spark terror as police conduct a major search for the gunman thought to have a 20-year military history. Also this morning, Israeli tanks cross into Gaza in what the military says was the largest tactical raid since Hamas's attacks 19 days ago. And the assault from the air goes on. Israel claims to have attacked 250 Hamas targets in the past 24 hours. Rishi Sunak on the benefits of artificial intelligence and the ultimate risks.
In the most unlikely but extreme cases, there is even the risk that humanity could lose control of AI completely, through the kind of AI sometimes referred to as superintelligence.
Plus, modern slavery and fraud. The foreign care worker is being exploited by criminals abusing the visa system. A special Sky News investigation. A very good morning to you. A major manhunt is underway and a US city is in lockdown after at least 15 people were killed in the deadliest mass shooting in America so far this year. People were forced to run for their lives after a gunman thought to be an army gun instructor with 20 years military experience opened fire. This morning, he's still on the run and people have been ordered to stay inside and lock their doors. The shootings happened in the American state of Maine, where police were called at just before 7 p.m. local time. They took place at two separate locations in the city of Lewiston. There was a bar and also a recreation area, which is also a bowling alley. Our US correspondent, Martha Kellner, has this report.
Intent on murder inside a bowling alley. This is the person of interest in one of America's deadliest mass shootings. Wielding an assault rifle, 40-year-old Robert Card, now the subject of an urgent manhunt. He is, according to law enforcement, a trained firearms instructor and Army Reserve. In other words, a nightmare scenario for police trying to prevent more killing. The victims lost their lives at the bowling alley and a nearby bar and grill. Survivors hid in the pit of the bowling lane to escape the gunfire.
Well, we were inside and just normal night of bowling, and out of nowhere he just came in and there was a loud pop. Thought it was a balloon. I had my back turned to the door, and as soon as I turned and saw it was not a balloon, he was holding a weapon, I just booked it down the lane, and I slid basically into where the pins are and climbed up in the machine and was on top of the machines for about 10 minutes until the cops got there.
Local people were told to shelter in place, to lock the doors of their homes as hundreds of police officers search for Card.
At approximately 6:56 this evening, a couple of shooting incidents occurred here with multiple casualties in the city of Lewiston. And police are currently searching for a Robert R. Card, 4/4 of 1983 of Bowdoin. Card is considered armed and dangerous. He is a person of interest, however, and that's what we'll label him at moving forward until that changes. If people see him, they should not approach Card or make contact with him in any way.
His car found 7 miles from the scene of the shootings. At the local hospital, off-duty doctors and nurses were told to come to work to treat the wounded, at least 50 of them. Outside, people waited desperately for news of their loved ones.
My ex-husband and my son were playing pool, and next thing I know, I saw on Facebook that there was a shooting at Schmeggy's where they were playing. And then nobody would tell us anything, just go to CMMC. His wife, his son, my ex-husband are here, friends are here, we're all waiting, and we've heard nothing.
This was the scene earlier as people ran terrified from the mass shooter, a scene witnessed all too frequently here in America. Down the road, attention will turn once more to this country's gun laws. But for now, the focus is on finding the killer. Martha Kellner, Sky News.
Coming up later this afternoon, we are expecting an update from police in Maine, scheduled for about 3:30 UK time, so do stay with us for that, and a live report coming up as well in the next few hours from Maine. Now, the Israeli military says its ground forces have carried out attacks on several targets in Gaza in what Israeli army radio described as the biggest incursion of the war so far. Israeli troops and tanks entered northern Gaza overnight. The Israel Defense Force says the incursion was to, quote, prepare the battlefield ahead of a widely expected ground invasion. Well, last night, the United Nations was unable to back calls for a pause in the fighting after a draft resolution was blocked by Russia and China. A rival resolution for a ceasefire also failed to pass because the US and UK said it would deny Israel the right to defend itself. Well, earlier, the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees says its aid operations may have to stop today in some parts of Gaza unless it gets more fuel. And in the UK, the Deputy Prime Minister, Oliver Dowden, is chairing a meeting of the Emergency Committee COBRA to discuss aid for Gaza as well as securing the release of hostages. This morning, the Israeli military raised the number of people being held in Gaza to 224. Well, in the last few minutes, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, did address the situation in Israel and Gaza.
I know I said for a long time, I've said consistently that we defend Israel's right to defend itself, to protect its people, to act against terrorism. And the UN Charter is very clear on that. We've also consistently urged the Israelis to follow international law. That's something that I've always pressed with the Israeli Prime Minister and indeed on my visit to the region last week. And we're doing absolutely everything we can in the UK to get humanitarian aid into the region. I think that's important. People should feel pleased about the role that the UK is playing. We've doubled the amount of financial aid that we provide. A flight took off yesterday, an RAF flight going to Egypt, carrying something like 75,000 tons of aid, which can make an enormous difference. And, alongside aid, we also want to try and get our British nationals out of Gaza, for the hostages to be released. And we recognise that for all of that to happen, there needs to be a safer environment, which of course necessitates specific pauses, which are distinct from a ceasefire. And that's why we supported the resolution at the United Nations yesterday, which among many other things mentioned that.
Well, our Security and Defence Editor Deborah Haynes joins us live now from Starr in southern Israel near the Gaza border. Deborah, great to see you. What exactly does it mean when we say that there's been an incursion to prepare the ground? Is that normal? Does it mean a ground invasion, a full-scale one, is now pretty much inevitable?
Well, in short, yes, it's very normal ahead of an operation that the Israelis are clearly planning to go into a densely confined urban environment where there's going to be the threat of Hamas booby traps, fighters hidden in tunnels and in buildings. Of course, the need to be mindful of civilians that are still there, that ahead of that kind of move in, which obviously exposes the Israeli forces to a lot of danger, that they would want to be preparing the ground. From what we've heard as to what happened overnight from the Israeli military, they sent in tanks across the border. They targeted Hamas positions, including anti-tank missile firing points, and also what they described as Hamas infrastructure. You can only imagine, though, you can probably see behind me, that is Gaza City in the distance. There's smoke rising from there just now. There have been intermittent strikes into the city since we've been here this morning, and you sort of see the plumes of smoke coming up every time that happens. The place has been massively damaged, and so for the Israeli military going in, they're going to be in an environment that is just a lot of wrecked buildings, crumpled concrete, and so to be able to manoeuvre in heavy armour, for example, that's going to be very difficult. So troops will have to be out on the floor on foot, and so therefore trying to reduce the risk to them before they go in makes complete military sense. And from what we heard from the Prime Minister the Israeli Prime Minister who addressed the nation yesterday evening, he said that Hamas, in his words, was doomed, that the ground invasion was going to be happening. It's a question of when, and he wouldn't say when that would be. But there is enormous risk there. It's not in his gift to say that he can achieve the destruction of Hamas, given the enemy obviously has a say, and given that going in is going to, again, ratchet up those regional tensions. We're already seeing violence elsewhere in Israel, attacks across different borders, and two, this international growing concern about the plight of Palestinian civilians who are inevitably caught in the crossfire.
Deborah, I had another question which just relates to the votes in the UN yesterday and the extent to which these dividing lines are becoming clearer, the UK and the US on one side of things. I mean, it takes you back slightly to how things fell when it was Afghanistan. There was more kind of consensus versus Iraq, where there clearly wasn't, and whether the UK is going to start to be standing a bit more alone on this. We're not perhaps there yet, but what's your take?
It's a really difficult situation. Israel's allies, like the UK, go out of their way to stress that they absolutely support Israel's right to defend itself in the wake of those horrendous attacks that happened on Israeli soil when Hamas fighters came across the border, murdered Israeli civilians, more than 1,400 killed, including children, and then kidnapped more than 200 people, including foreigners, including babies, including the elderly, holding them captive inside Gaza. So obviously for the UK, for the US, given their experience in particular of dealing with terrorism, with Islamist terrorism, they have fully endorsed Israel's right to defend itself. But the wording that they give too is about the need to stay within the bounds of international laws of war, and that absolutely means to not inflict damage on civilians, not clearly to target civilians. The problem is, though, that as the Israelis say, Hamas used the civilian population inside Gaza as human shields, and so they will die when Israel strikes against Hamas targets, because the targets are within the civilian population. And you're seeing that now in the south of Gaza, where Israel has asked civilians to move to, saying that that is going to be the safe area, given that the focus of the military offensive has been and will be, in terms of the ground invasion, presumably here in the north of the Strip. But the problem is there have been airstrikes too in the south, and civilians are also dying. And that, when it happens, inflames tensions, rises up criticism against Israel globally, and that's what you'll see playing out at the United Nations.
Deborah, thanks so much for that. And let's continue the discussion and bring in our military analyst, Sean Bell, who's here with me on set. Sean, great to see you as always.
Good morning, Wolf.
So let's talk about this incursion, as we're calling it, overnight. What do we know about it?
Yeah, it's also the start of the facts, isn't it? It's the second ground incursion we've seen. I think the first one was on Sunday evening, happened overnight into northern Gaza. It was the biggest of the two so far. As we say, it involved tanks, bulldozers and infantry as well. If you remember last time the incursion, there were some Israeli casualties and also anti-tank weapons used. Well, footage released this time shows the IDF apparently targeting Hamas fighters, some of their infrastructure and anti-tank positions. Sky understands this was a targeted raid. Interestingly, Prime Minister Netanyahu appeared on prime-time television last night to confirm that the ground invasion will happen, and therefore this all appears to be a precursor for that.
And so why this raid now? What do you make of the timing?
Well, from a military perspective, you want to prepare the ground, gather intelligence as you go. One of the main reasons of being there, practically speaking, last time they went in, anti-tank missiles were fired, so Israelis will know the sorts of positions that Hamas will be occupying and therefore can take them out. They'll also be scared that there might be minefields around and therefore they can clear those. The bulldozer, there was evidence they were clearing anti-tank obstruction. So all of it's just clearing the way in advance. It's also going to be testing Hamas's reactions, because when the Hamas won't know whether this is the start of the invasion or just an incursion, therefore all their communications will have lit up, and therefore it creates a great opportunity to intercept those, find out what communications Hamas are using, and also allows Israel to use its advantages of satellite, huge military capability. But as for preparations for a ground invasion, I know there's a lot of talk about actually going into Gaza City itself. I've consistently said I don't know how that's going to be conducted. Militarily, really difficult, but it is possible that the military could put a ring of steel around Gaza City and then use special forces to actually do targeted incursions, because they have a good history of being relatively successful in recovering hostages.
What do you make on the potential timing of the full-scale invasion now?
From a military perspective, I stand by the fact that what's the objective? And the objective apparently is to destroy Hamas. It's very difficult to see how you can do that militarily. Hamas is more of an idea than an army. There's also political pressure mounting, not only from the international community, but also United Nations, because the attention is gradually shifting to humanitarian issue. The Hamas have got these hostages. We've seen a couple of days of drip feeding these out. That captures the news agenda, starts to paint Israel as the bad guys for not negotiating. But it's very evident. Prime Minister Netanyahu is angry. He wants to be seen to be doing something, and he doesn't want Hamas to drive the agenda, the timing for all of this. And he wants Israel to be seen strong for all this. Meanwhile, the death toll continues to rise. As we understand it, 1,400 Israelis have been killed. From the Hamas-run Gaza Health Authority, it's over 5,000 people have died. And as we've consistently said, there is no military solution to this problem. Meanwhile, though, the casualties continue to rise on both sides.
Sure. As always, thanks so much, Sean Bell there. Well, coming up later on Sky News, a special programme on the Israel-Hamas war, presented by Mark Austin, live from Jerusalem at 9 p.m. Make sure to tune in for that. Well, we'll tackle it head on and keep the public safe. That's the message from the Prime Minister this morning as he addressed the threats and opportunities of artificial intelligence. Rishi Sunak's speech comes ahead of a summit taking place at Bletchley Park next week that will see him host global politicians and tech executives. Today, he said artificial intelligence brings new opportunities for economic growth, as well as the chance to solve problems once thought beyond us. But he also warned that it presents new dangers and new fears, including cybercrime, misinformation, and designing bioweapons, which he's vowed to tackle head on. Rishi Sunak also pledged to make the UK a global leader in AI safety. He said new government reports published today give a stark warning.
Get this wrong, and AI could make it easier to build chemical or biological weapons. Terrorist groups could use AI to spread fear and destruction on an even greater scale. Criminals could exploit AI for cyber attacks, disinformation, fraud, or even child sexual abuse. And in the most unlikely but extreme cases, there is even the risk that humanity could lose control of AI completely, through the kind of AI sometimes referred to as superintelligence.
Well, our tech correspondent Archie Nachapan joins us now. Archie, I'm interested in what you made of this speech, because this is essentially the sort of precursor, isn't it, to the big summit coming next week, and whether we learnt anything new and concrete about what he hopes that summit might achieve, or whether this is the start of a very long, drawn-out process that won't really deliver any concrete rewards before the next election.
This is exactly the concern. So what is clear is that Rishi Sunak wants to be seen to be leading the agenda on AI and using next week's summit as a prime example to do so. But if we look at what we got in terms of concrete plans out of the speech today, there's the introduction of this AI Safety Institute, which the government is saying is, the first in the world of its kind. But what we don't know about this institute is, firstly, is the government going to have enough access to understand the main models that are driving forward AI at the moment? So, for example, I'm talking about GPT-4, which is the foundational model behind ChatGPT by OpenAI. Because if they don't have the level of information needed to really interrogate these models, how will they be able to fulfill the role of being able to understand what their capabilities are? And say they are able to properly examine these models and understand the capabilities, there is then the question of what kind of bite will this institute have? What kind of influence will it have over government decision making? Because if we don't understand what that is going to do, then we are still left with a lot of the vague conversation about, okay, we have to balance the risks of AI with the benefits. And what would really help us understanding what this government's stance is on AI is exactly what value system they will use to do that and what their priorities will be, because there are a lot of tensions.
Archie, thanks so much for that, and we're looking forward to more coverage in reaction to that speech later in the day, but also, of course, next week here on Sky News when the Bletchley Park gathering does take place itself. We'll still to come here today on Sky News Today, how criminals are abusing the visa system to exploit overseas carers. China reaches a new milestone in its mission to put its astronauts on the moon, and the Poppy Appeal goes eco-friendly with its first redesign in decades.
The This is a very strange atmosphere, this subject of such horrific attack.
On both sides, one has to say that this is just the most awful situation.
We could hear the distant sound of gunfire.
It's a complete stalemate.
This is a war, and it's going to go on for a very long time.
I'm Mark Stone and I'm Sky's correspondent based here in Washington, D.C.
Well, the plan seems to be to head to the police station where the policeman who fired the shots was based.
And everything, his memories is all gone.
I've witnessed the remarkable passion for politics here, but the anger too.
We have to get Trump out of the White House.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
You got your political agenda.
No, it's honestly.
God love you.
And beyond the United States, I report from around the world. This is a town that is effectively encircled by the Russians. We take you to the heart of stories that shape our planet.
I can hear now quite a few explosions in the distance here in Jerusalem.
What do you think of ISIS?
Everybody here, they know the truth of ISIS.
Welcome back. Sky News understands criminals are abusing the visa system that was designed to allow carers to be recruited from abroad, resulting in constant allegations of fraud and modern slavery. The concerns have led to a nationwide investigation into care agencies operating illegally, as our communities correspondent Becky Johnson now reports.
They provide a lifeline for vulnerable people, and a shortage of carers in Britain means staff are needed from abroad. But Sky News can reveal widespread visa fraud and a nationwide investigation into modern slavery in the care sector. In northwest England, we found migrants knocking on care home doors, desperate for a job.
We are looking for a work permit, like most of the care homes giving work permit or jobs.
Inside, staff didn't want to be identified, but told us they're constantly being contacted by companies they've never heard of, offering them carers.
We probably get about 4 or 5 calls a day asking if we need any agency staff. And a lot are now phoning and offering that they'll do a free shift.
And in terms of the knocks on the door from people asking for work, how often is that?
2 or 3 times a day, I'd say.
It's happening because some companies are illegally charging for work visas and then failing to provide jobs. This woman, who we're calling Mary, paid £4,000 to an agent in the north of England for a certificate of sponsorship for a full-time job as a carer. It was only after she arrived from the Philippines in July that she realised she'd been conned. Have they given you any work?
No, even single day of work they couldn't provide, they didn't give us.
Visa rules mean she's only allowed to work full-time for her sponsor, and any part-time work has to also be in care. So like the people we saw knocking on doors, she's also been approaching care homes.
Do you feel trapped?
Yeah.
Could you go back?
No, I couldn't. I spend a lot of money and my family doesn't know my situation here and I don't want to tell them. They will be upset.
She's scared of the consequences of reporting her sponsor, which is why we're not naming the company. But it's one of several apparently fake agencies set up since February 2022, when the government began allowing carers in on skilled worker visas.
So I think it's very, very close to people trafficking.
This care home owner in Milton Keynes had to pause overseas recruitment after finding out an agent he'd paid had also illegally charged a worker for her visa. What sort of sums of money are we talking about?
So the recruiter's getting £30,000 to bring somebody over. So actually, it's probably more than the transporters are getting for the rubber dinghies coming across the channel.
A major investigation is now underway into multiple care agencies suspected of being established with the intention of exploiting workers.
The sole purpose of these criminals is to use these people as cash cows. They are running businesses at a much reduced cost because they're not paying them what they're supposed to. It is our number one priority at the moment.
The government insists companies operating unlawfully may face prosecution and removal from the sponsorship register. Many in the care sector believe urgent reform is needed to protect workers and the vulnerable people they look after. Becky Johnson, Sky News.
Well, the annual Poppy Appeal launches today, but this year the iconic flowers will look a little different. That's because the Royal British Legion has redesigned its flowers to be plastic-free to make them recyclable. The all-new paper flowers are being introduced in a bid to cut down on single-use plastics. Existing stock of the older plastic flowers will still be sold, but they can be recycled at certain supermarkets as the charity looks to clear out its old stock. Now, a quick look at the weather.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
There will be widespread showers or longer spells of rain through the weekend and strong winds in the north and south. Most places will see temperatures around average today, but a stiff wind near northern and southern coasts will make it feel cooler there. Eastern Britain will be rather grey this afternoon with some prolonged rain from Norfolk northwards. But England will see the rain becoming largely confined to North Sea coasts later on. The flooded parts of eastern Scotland look wet throughout. Elsewhere, expect sunny spells and showers, with the showers concentrated in the west. There's a risk of hail and thunder too.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
You're watching Sky News today. Still to come, Sir Keir Starmer under pressure over his stance on the Israel-Hamas war. We'll speak to a Labour councillor who's quit the party.
The family, friends, and loved ones of Apostle Maknyako and Mrs. Victoria Abena Bosumpima wishes to invite friends, loved ones, the Christian community to the celebration of life. This will take place on the 10th of November 2023. Church service will be held at the Elim Pentecostal Church, West Croydon, Stanley Road. The postcode is CR0 3QA. Interment will take place at the Croydon Cemetery, Mitcham Road, London. The postcode CR9 3AT. A reception will follow, and that is from 3 p.m. at the Imperial Banqueting Hall, 31 Imperial Way, Croydon. The postcode once again CR04RR. It will be followed on Sunday, the 12th of November 2023, 11 a.m. with Thanksgiving service at the Newma Christian Center at 87 Beddington Lane, Croydon, CR04 Ltd. The dress code for the funeral celebration is going to be black. But as for the Thanksgiving, it's going to be black and white. All friends and sympathizers are cordially invited. For more information, please contact Evelyn 075 5463 8421. Kojo 073 7592 8737. Sheila 079 83 58 1818. Come and mourn with us as we celebrate the lives of the late Apostle Mark Nyakun and Mrs. Victoria Abena Bosumpima. See you all there, and God bless you.
See how they shine.
People all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prum Prum Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Star Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Star Radio. This is UK. Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Star Radio. Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you this morning. A special good morning goes to Maybe Sekufu. Hey, May, I hope you are doing very, very, very well. Nice to see you. I hope the family is doing well as well. My regards to every one of them. Let me say good morning to Mr. Francis Guy, my able producer. When I was away, he was the one seeing to everything, and he was doing everything possible to make sure that the program, you have a sneak view of what is happening across the globe via the BBC broadcast. So I salute you, Mr. Francis Guy. So like me, Koiki, and the family as well. I salute you, gentlemen. Let me say good morning to
Love for you runs deep.
Anthony Adideji, wherever you are, massive good morning to you. Olakunle, good morning. Aziz, good morning. My brother Felix, all the way in Aberdeen. I hope you are doing very, very well. I was away, so I couldn't get in touch to find out how you were doing too.
And that's what makes you great. You are God. You were never.
Okie
You remain.
Welcome to Pastor Momo and Pastor Chidi, wherever you all are. Gentlemen, good morning to you all. And let me say good morning to the Morrison family and my condolences. They're my in-laws, you know. Yes, we lost Sharon Morrison last Monday in Ghana. But condolences, our thoughts, and our heartfelt sympathy to every one of you of the Morrison family, home and abroad. So once again, let me say welcome to the program. It's going to be a special broadcast, so it's going to be finishing exactly at 12 o'clock. As you know, previous days we've had the
Almighty, our worship.
technical team doing everything possible, bringing you everything that you need to know. But hey, we are back bringing the live program, so let's see how it's all faring there. So if you can share with your friends and loved ones, do so. Share it with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. We're broadcasting live on all our social media platforms. Once again, I say welcome to the program.
The hand that made me who I am.
Okay, so I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's known as Global Trotting. Then from there, we'll look at some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria. We'll go to other parts of Africa as well. And then we'll land in other parts of the world. Outside Africa as well. And then finally, land here in the UK, and we'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. But to all the parents who are having their kids at home during the half term, let me say good morning to Mr. Dan Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, our money man, and Mrs. Evelyn Tabiri. Yeah, I hope you are doing very, very well. And all my wonderful girls, Abena, Ishira, Asida, I salute you all. Okay, let's crack on. Let me put it this way, our protocol observed. And once again, welcome to the program. It is the Starr Radio UK.
Love for you runs deep.
That's the edition of the morning show. And a special broadcast from there. I'm saying good morning to KB Bossman all the way in Ghana. Vicky Newton, good morning to you. Mr. Frank Davis, good morning to you as well.
And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain.
Okay, so let's move on strictly to the quote for the day. What has the quote for the day got to say today? What has the quote for the day got for us today? The 26th day of October 2023. You know, I nearly said 2028. But what's going to happen in 2028? Well, the time to start making sure that every moment counts is now. How true is that? How true is that? I was talking about the fact that I lost my sister-in-law in Ghana, and it's been a while we've not spoken for a while, and then you were thinking, oh, I could have called her, I could have, and then you didn't, and then this happened. So, but whatever it is, make hay while the sun shines.
Holy, holy.
Now, when it comes to the weather front as well, here in the UK, in London, yes, in the UK, but in the London and the eastern part of the UK, this is how the weather is going to be for you. There's going to be a mix of sunny spells, patchy cloud, and scattered showers for the rest of the day. The showers will be locally heavy. Now, this evening, it will become largely dry with lengthy clear spells. Overnight, a band of thick cloud will sweep in from the west, bringing the chance of a few isolated showers as well.
Same for now, yesterday.
Top temperature is going to be 16 degrees, and the low is going to be 8 degrees. Pollen level is no pollen level, but UV level is going to be moderate, and pollution is going to be low. Sunset 17:45 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:43 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today, Thursday, the 26th day of October 2023, with the time now 10:47 from the House of London. Okay, so let me take you straight to the travels. For those of you who are moving around this morning here in the UK or London and other parts of the UK as well. Well, on the major roads in London, I don't know whether because the kids are home, so there are no exceptional delays. Good one there. And also on the underground this morning, well, we have a problem on the district line. There are part closures, so please check before you leave. From today, Thursday, to the 26th to Sunday the 29th of October, no service between Earls Court and Ealing Broadway. Richmond, Kensington, Olympia, use London Overground for to service that route.
You make a dawn fade, and that's what makes you great. You are God.
Now, so on the underground as well, the others have got good service. Now, London Tramlink has got part closure from Saturday the 21st to Sunday the 29th of October. No service between East Croydon and Beckenham Junction, Elmes End, and New Addington. Replacement buses are operating, so check before you leave. You want to hit the ground running, then you have to leave home a bit early. Now, London Overground has got good service. Elizabeth Line, good service. DLR, good service there as well. That takes us straight to the river bus, where still Woolwich Ferry has got a reduced service. That aside, all the other lines are running very, very good there. The London Cable Car has resumed good service there as well. That brings us to the final segment of the travel update. That's the National Rail. So on the National Rail this morning, Chiltern Railways has got severe delays. Cross Country, minor delays. First Transpennine Express, minor delays. Great Western Railway, minor delays. Island Line Special Service. London North Eastern Railway, minor delays. Lumo, minor delays. Northeastern Northern Rail, minor delays. Scott Rail, Southwestern Railway, minor delays there as well. And also we've got Southern and Transport for Wales, minor delays. So please check before you leave. But you know, as I would say, as I normally do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Keep those eyes on the roads. The family, friends, and loved ones of Apostle Mark Nyako and Mrs. Victoria Abina Bosumpima which is to invite friends, loved ones, the Christian community to the celebration of life. This will take place on the 10th of November 2023. Church service will be held at the Elim Pentecostal Church, West Croydon, Stanley Road. The postcode is CR0 3QA. Interment will take place at the Croydon Cemetery, Mitcham Road, London. The postcode CR9 3AT. A reception will follow, and that is from 3 p.m. at the Imperial Banqueting Hall, 31 Imperial Way, Croydon. The postcode once again CR04RR. It will be followed on Sunday, the 12th of November 2023, 11 a.m. with Thanksgiving service at the Numa Christian Center at 87 Beddington Lane, Croydon, CR04TD. The dress code for the funeral celebration is going to be black, but as for the Thanksgiving, it's going to be black and white. All friends and sympathizers are cordially invited. For more information, please contact Evelyn 075 5463 8421. Kojo 073 7592 8737. Sheila 079 83 58 1818. Come and mourn with us as we celebrate the lives of the late Apostle Mark Nyakun and Mrs. Victoria Abena Bosumpima. See you all there, and God bless you. See how they shine. My apologies there. Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, the Thursday edition. It's now gone 10:53 from the House of London. And as I do say all the time, if you're listening to us, you find out that something is not happening, you can just get in touch. And that's how you wonderful people are doing. And I really, really appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. Is that I should mention your name? Okay, I hear you. All right then. So let's go global. Trot in. Okay, God willing, Monday we should have Mr. Olani Koiki with us, and he'll be bringing you all the details. But there are some few stories that is posted or is sent it to me. I'm going to share that with you. Now, Tinubu appoints new resident electoral commissioners for Lagos, Rivers, and 8 other states. Presidential tussle. 7 Supreme Court justices who decide Tinubu Atiko Obi's fate today. Interesting. Okay. And the APC says INEC acted prematurely over the listing of party's Guba candidate. Timperi Silva is saying, and beware of desperate politicians, but pray for Tinubu. Wike tells pastors and imams. Interesting, isn't it? Okay, now bringing on eve of Supreme Court verdict, American files motion in new bid. And then Atiko versus Tinubu, why the rush? Peter Obi scammed, react at Supreme Court, fixes the date for the hearing. Well, so we'll be following it very, very closely whilst we are on air. If we happen to get that feed, I promise to bring that your way. However, if it happens that it runs over and then we are not able to bring you that as well, tomorrow, God willing, if we are alive, we'll bring in that your way as well. But I think there's a need for any change. And what are Nigerians actually thinking of at this time? Let me hear from you. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactly 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Just bear with me since that my mouse was playing up. Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it back. I got the mouse back. I got a cat to chase the mouse. All right then. All of you who are listening to us on the YouTube channel as well, I want to salute each and every one of you. Thank you very much for tuning in as well. Okay. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, as I have said there. Let me say good morning to Sister BB Clement there as well. Wherever you are, BB, I hope you are doing very, very well as well. Thank you very much for your patronage as well. And as many of you, as I did say, we were putting all the comments across, information across that because of some technical schedules that was going on, therefore we couldn't bring you live broadcasts. But you still stayed glued to listen to us, to support us, and I'm very, very appreciative of your patronage wherever you might be. But now I know, as I did say, we will bring you more of what is happening in Nigeria today. What is happening in Nigeria today? As Wike is telling our pastors and imams, beware of desperate politicians, but pray for Tinubu. Who is a desperate politician? Is it the fact that he's number one arch rival? That is what do you call him once again? Atiku is now trying to get some evidence or something to actually outwit Tinubu. But what do you think about all that? We'll be looking more into that. A Kenyan MP censored for wearing Palestine scarf. Okay. And Kebbi ceasefire right now will only, Kebbi is saying that ceasefire right now will only benefit Hamas. National Security Council spokesman John Kebbi says the call for a ceasefire right now only benefits Hamas. Why? How? And France sends a naval aid to Gaza as Egypt urges ground invasion avoidance. But the Israeli Prime Minister has gone on to say he's announced a date for that to happen. And then in Senegal, Ousmane Sonko is in intensive care unit. Well, according to some of his supporters, we'll be telling you more about that. In DR Congo, 24 aspirants applied to vie for the presidency. Presidential election that's going to be taking place. And Kenya court extends delay on deployment of Haiti mission, and I've been talking about that several times before. Sierra Leone president pledges to enforce agreement, and Nigeria doctor Olaleye sentenced to life for what? We're telling you more about all that in a moment. When it comes to Ghana as well, I only disagree with Mahama on partisan balance of judiciary appointments. Atuguba is saying Atuguba is the same Atuguba who was the former judge. Oh yes. Is it not retired? Okay, he said, okay, so we're bringing you more about that as well. And then stop abusing sickness clause in the oath of allegiance to chiefs. Well, they say if you're not sick and you say you are sick, you go sabi the thing will go happen to you. Now 6 more Western Togoland secessionists convicted and 4 others have been freed. Physicians Assistant Association calls for posting for over 1,000 qualified physicians at home. Well, so if they think that whatever is happening, they think that their best bet is to just go to other countries, then what do you think they've done wrong? Well, they'll talk about brain drain and all that. Somebody saying, I don't want to use the word. But when it comes to other parts of the world as well, this is what is happening this morning. Israeli tank crosses into Gaza for targeted raid. It's one of the stories making the rounds there. Israel says the raid was preparation for the next stage of the combat. Its forces are now back in Israel territory. And at least 16 feared dead in main mass shooting. This morning they were saying that it was 20, but now it's been confirmed that 16 residents of Lewiston are being asked to stay indoors as a gunman is still at large. And helicopter sirens is crazy, Lewiston resident is saying. And Russia says it rehearsed massive nuclear strike. Targeting who? And to which part of the world are they looking at doing that? Okay, the drills comes as Moscow pulls out of a treaty banning physical nuclear weapons tests. And then jailbreak king gets more jail time for bold escape. Redrawing Fayed is given another 14 years in jail for a spectacular escape involving a helicopter. And Ford agrees 25% pay rise in tentative strike deal. And the U.S. will defend Philippines if China attacks. That's what Biden is saying. Is it not that there seem to be too many wars going on, and therefore what is going to happen is that the U.S. is going to be spreading itself thin, and therefore will not be able to make enough impact? What do you think about all that? Well, lots more going to be coming your way from there. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Here in the UK, student rental market at crisis point. Report is saying the average cost of a university accommodation in England is almost level with the average maintenance loan. Boy, oh boy. If you've not had your ward going to a uni, staying there on campus, boy, you're not seeing nothing yet. You're not seeing nothing yet. So you got to wake up. But well, health staff to begin legal fight over COVID bonus. The government may face a judicial review after excluding outsourced workers for a one-off bonus. And then VLK loses 1.3 million of Ken Bruce's to listeners. What has happened? K has 6.9 million listeners after replacing Bruce in Radio 2 mid-morning slot earlier this year. Well, it's not everybody who people gravitate to. If I sit in the chair to present the program, people will gravitate towards me, others will gravitate towards another more or better than me, and vice versa. Okay. Now, in Aberdeen as well, a mother and a young son had died in Mumbai fire. It's one of the stories. Dr. Gloria Valati was understood to have been visiting relatives with her two children and husband, and she has died. AI risks bioweapons, but new jobs on the way. That's what the Prime Minister is saying. Now, thank you very much, my brother Francis. My able producer, he sent me some AI stuff, and I used it whilst I was away to do a few things, and it was working. I was like, interesting. Just a second, topmost, let's say 2 seconds. You just put whatever, and then it designs whatever you want. Then I was like, boy, oh boy, we need to wake up, or else it's going to get to a point where all jobs will be going. So you have an Archie AI sitting here presenting the program, and Archie cannot do nothing. But what do you think about all that? Well, advancement in technology, how is it going to benefit us? We're going to be bringing you more on that as the program goes on. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 3 minutes past the top of the hour at a time. The morning show, the program. Now let's go listen to some music, and I will be back with you. This is Everlasting to Everlasting from Pastor Theodora Boache and Sir of Theodora Gospel.
Radio UK.
King of kings, Lord of lords, we worship you and lift you high. Your kingdom spreads from age to age, from everlasting to everlasting. There is no one like you. We worship you, Lord. We worship you high. The creator who was not created, king who has no successor, flower that never fades. Abba Father, we worship you. Thy kingdom come. Oh Lord, we call you Emmanuel. You are the first, the Alpha and Omega. That's why we bow down and worship you. And we lift you high, and lift you high. Kingdom spread from age to age, everlasting to everlasting. There is no one like you. We worship you, Lord. We worship you high. You're the kingdom spread from age to age, everlasting to everlasting. Beyond the earth there is no one. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, nobody like you, Jesus. Lord, we worship you high. There is no one like you. We worship you, Lord. We worship you
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactly 10 minutes past 11. And as I just say, we'll be finishing our brigade program to a close exactly at 12 o'clock. Yes, the technical updates have been done. There are a few tying of loose ends that is going on at the moment, but because we promised that we have to bring you the program, we have to be here. So we'll be bringing the program to close exactly at 12 o'clock. All right, yeah, okay, so just bear with us, but enjoy the ride wherever you might be. Star, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, today is a big day as the president, the seven Supreme Court justices who are going to be deciding the fate of Tinubu, Atiku, and Obi today. The story says that two of the three petitions that go to Supreme Court are up for adjudication today with a good case at the apex court. That's what the Labour Party is saying. The die is cast. The legal fisticuffs over the February 25 presidential election will be concluded today as a 7-man panel of the Supreme Court rules on the appeal of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Mr. Peter Obi challenging the elections of President Bola Tinubu. Now, Atiku, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and Obi, his Labour Party counterparts, are seeking to nullify the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who contested on the banner of the All Progressive Congress, that's the APC. The two lost their quest to stop Tinubu at the presidential election petition court on September 6th, and consequently approached the apex court, now which had their appeals on Monday. All the parties, Atiku, PDP, Obi, LP, Tinubu of the APC, and the Independent National Electoral Commission adopted their final briefs of argument on Monday, and the court, led by Justice Ian Okoro, reserved its judgment. The Apex Court communicated today's judgment date to all the parties yesterday through a notice signed by one of its registrars. The 7 justices who will take the landmark decision today are Iyan Okoro, Uwani Abba Aji, Lawal Gaba, Ibrahim Sulawa, Adamu Jaru, Abubakar Tijani, and Emmanuel Akomaye Agim. Atiku Obi appeals. Atiku and Obi are challenging the INEC declaration that Tinubu of the ruling APC was the valid winner of the February 25 presidential elections, and praying the Apex Court to set aside the September 6th judgment of the PEP, which dismissed the allegation that the election was rigged in favor of the APC. Now, apart from the challenging President Tinubu's eligibility to participate in the contest, Atiku, who came second, and Obi, who came third, maintained that Tinubu did not secure a majority of valid votes and that were cast during the election to be declared the winner. Now, though 5 petitions were initially entered against the declaration of President Tinubu as winner of the presidential contest that involved 17 candidates, only 3 of the petitions made it to the Apex Court, whereas 2 of the petitions were withdrawn before they could even be heard by the PEP, which held its proceedings at the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal. Of the 3 petitions that were entered at the Supreme Court, only 2 made it to the last lap of the litigation. The 7-man panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Iyan Okoro, had on Monday dismissed the case of the Allied People's Movement, that's APM, instituted to nullify President Tinubu's victory after the parties reluctantly reviewed its appeal, which the panel insisted was academic and of no useful legal purpose. Now, consequently, the surviving appeals were the ones filed by a former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi. Meanwhile, the Labour Party has expressed confidence that it will emerge victorious in today's ruling of the court. Now, hinging its confidence on the quality and quantity of evidence, as well as what is described as its convincing arguments before the Supreme Court. National legal advisor of the party, Kehinde Edun, said this is in an interactive session with reporters. He said it's in an interaction session with reporters in Abuja yesterday. He spoke while responding to the question on the party's expectation ahead of today's judgment by the Supreme Court. Now, the legal advisor said, "We are expecting victory because that is what justice demands. That is what Nigerians want. We will not lose hope. We have presented our case before the court. We are confident of the victory of the Labour Party, and for Nigerians, we know that there will be jubilation everywhere in Nigeria." Of course, there wouldn't be jubilation everywhere in Nigeria. Whoever loses or whoever wins, virtually, there are some part of the population that will not be jubilating. Some will be laughing, some will be crying. I mean, of course. Peep into the profiles of the 6 men and a woman shows a collection of justices who have made their mark on the bench. Okay, I will not have the time to go through all their CVs, CVs of those judges, justices, but I can tell you that well, we're going to be seeing more from there. Now, the Supreme Court on Thursday rejected the application of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. That's breaking, that is coming through. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to be allowed to tender a copy of President Bola Tinubu's certificate, which he obtained from the Chicago University in the United States of America. The Apex Court, in its lead judgment, that was delivered by Justice Ian Okoro, held that constitutionally allowed period for such evidence to be admitted had since elapsed. So does it speak well? Does it augur well for Nigerians as a whole? That is a question. Well, it stressed that the section 285 subsection 5 of the 1999 constitution, as amended expressly, gave the presidential election petition that's 180-day lifespan to hear and determine in writing all petitions arising from the presidential election. According to the Apex Court, considering that the PEP, which sat at the court of first instance in the presidential dispute, had since delivered its verdict, no provision of the law will allow the admittance of any other evidence at the appeal stage. Now, it's noted that the 180 days donated to the tribunal by the Constitution expired on September 17, adding that the Supreme Court no longer has the requisite jurisdiction to admit the document. And that is quite interesting, isn't it? Because if when CRB, which we do here, CRB is done when you were looking for employment here, okay, that's a Starr Radio, okay, because of everything, we do a CRB check on you so that you come in, because maybe you're working with the vulnerable people and all sorts, and we don't want any abuses and blah 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 taking place. And then we say, well, we have the first 3 months where you are going through your induction, where after that you now and then experience, and then you'll be now confirmed that you're temporary now to a permanent staff. Now after that, if somebody turns in an evidence that you did that and that and that in the past, do we say that, look, per the constitution of the country or employment or stuff like that, we're not going to be looking at that? Now, how does that also pan out for Nigerians as a whole? Now, a few of my friends, a few of them, I've got lots of them. Yeah, I've been saying that those who are working in the what do you call it, health sector and stuff like that, have been telling me, you know what? The problem that we are having is that people are thinking that we don't have the requisite certificates. Those who were not trained here. And there's nothing going on. So how does Nigeria actually come out of that? This court, it goes on, do not do what the trial court is no longer. Let me take it on again. This court cannot do what a trial court is no longer constitutionally permitted to do. Now, Justice Okoro held, adding that Atiku and the PDP could no longer invoke the provision of Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act. More so, the Apex Court noted that the issue of forgery, which Atiku sought to establish through proposed fresh evidence, was not pleaded in any paragraph of his appeal. It held that the appellants no longer had a time to amend their case since 21 days allowed for those that were aggrieved with the outcome of the election to file petition had also elapsed. It is crystal clear that the additional evidence did not fit into issues for determination in this appeal. Okay, we'll be telling you more about all that. As the news continue to break from Nigeria. But if you are listening to us and you're listening to us from Nigeria, or you're a Nigerian, or you are one who loves the sub-Saharan African area, what do you think? What do you think? And how are supporters of Atiku and wouldn't Peter Obi take that ruling from the Supreme Court? Well, they said they are using all the clauses to say that, well, maybe he's done that, but because he didn't tender his in on time, so you cannot use that against him. Boy, oh boy. All right then, don't you go away. Let's bring you some of this, some more stories. Okay, in other stories making the rounds as well. Now, okay. Bear with me. I have to just bring you a couple of that, and then we can bring that part to a close. So wherever you are, don't you just go away. Just bear with me whilst I do that quickly. Now, Tinubu has appointed new resident electoral commissioners for Lagos, Rivers, and 8 other states. Now, the story says that President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of 9 new resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission for a term of 5 years, subject to the confirmation of the Senate. Now, the appointment, according to a release issued on Wednesday by presidential spokesperson Ajuri Ngelale, was in line with the powers vested in the president by Section 154, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, and Section 6 of the Electoral Act. Well, listeners, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let's take a break, and then we'll be back with you. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Okay, welcome back to the program. As I did say, it's a special program, so we're going to finish in the next 35 minutes. But with what is happening in Nigeria, what do you think about all that? What do you think about all that is happening in Nigeria today? What do you think? Well, we'll tell you more about that. And then APC says INEC acted prematurely over the listing of parties' Guba candidates. Timpere Silva is saying as well. We're going to be looking more into all those stories, but just bear with me. Quickly, we'll take a commercial break. We'll come back. Yeah, I promise you I'll bring you everything that you need to know before we bring the program to a close.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghanaman Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Welcome back to the program. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And as I did say, well, so that has been the updates from Nigeria. What do you think about the verdict so far? So far, exactly at 11:30. What do you think about the verdict in Nigeria this morning? So far, well, the Supreme Court is saying that what? You cannot tender in the certificate issue, the fake certificate issue. But Supreme Court delivers final judgment today. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring you all the rest, God willing, tomorrow when we come your way with the Friday edition of the morning show. Okay, let's move on straight to other parts of Africa because we've got only 30 minutes to round the program up. Well, a Kenyan MP has been censored for wearing a Palestine scarf. A Palestine scarf. A Kenyan member of parliament found himself at the center of controversy as he was instructed to remove a traditional Palestinian scarf he was wearing during a sitting. Farah Malim, the MP in question, said that he was wearing the scarf as a symbol of solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza who were enduring the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Mr. Malim expressed the view that Palestine required the support of all individuals in Kenya during these challenging times. However, his gesture was met with opposition from the Speaker of the National Assembly, who deemed the scarf a violation of parliamentary regulations. Furthermore, fellow MPs joined in the criticism, accusing the legislator of displaying disrespect towards the rules of the House. This incident comes days after Kenyan authorities briefly detained 3 individuals for their involvement in a pro-Palestinian gathering in the capital. So, if there's a gathering in support of Palestinians, how do you see it? Not in support of the Hamas, no, but in support of the people, because a lot of people are calling for ceasefire and all that, so that humanitarian corridor can be created, and so that they will be able to reach out to the vulnerable, the innocent. But the question is, as they say, that it looks like Hamas uses the populace as a shield. So what do you think can be done about it? Where lies your support now? Okay, and then Red Sea. Ethiopia will not accept its interests through war, assures Abiy Ahmed. Ethiopia has no intention of invading another country and will never accept its interests through war, assured its Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. He said this to say, a few days after a speech that raised concerns about Addis Ababa's possible claims to the Red Sea. In a televised speech on October 13, Mr. Abiy said Ethiopia's existence as a nation is linked to the Red Sea, that his country needed a port, and that peace in the region depended on balanced mutual sharing between landlocked Ethiopia and its neighbors. The second most populous country in Africa, with around 120 million inhabitants, Ethiopia has no direct access to the Red Sea, one of the world's major trade crossroads, unlike its neighbors Eritrea and Djibouti. Now, although he said he had no wish to interfere in the affairs of other countries and wanted to peacefully assert his demand for a port on the Red Sea. Mr. Abiy's speech worried some observers, particularly in context of apparent tension with neighboring Eritrea. Now, so Eritrea borders the sea and borders Ethiopia. Now, earlier on, they were all one country and therefore they had access to the ports. But now that they all decided to go their separate ways and stuff like that. So, what happens there? Now, Ethiopia has never invaded any country and will not do so in the future, assured Mr. Abiy in a speech delivered on Thursday in central Addis Ababa on the occasion of the Defense Force Day celebrated over a year. One recent request for access to the sea has raised fears that Ethiopia is leading an invasion. I want to assure you that Ethiopia will not assert its interests through war, continued the Ethiopian Prime Minister. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And Kenya and Angola has called on M23 rebels in DRC to move to a military garrison. It's one of the stories making the rounds this morning as well. On the African continent. Let me see whether I can bring you one more and then we'll move on from there. Now, one final story, and this is a religious one. A 3-week meeting at the Vatican on the future of Catholic Church wraps up. A group of nuns spoke to journalists about their work in the church, the importance of their roles, and their frustration at the limitations. While they all felt they exert some power in their current roles, they expressed hope that the Synod of the Bishops and Pope Francis could bring change to the Vatican hierarchy. Now, they were eagerly looking forward to hearing the results of the talks. Now, the Synod meeting will come to close at the end of this week, and the Vatican will be releasing the concluding document. Now, many are wondering what will be decided on the hot button issues like women in governance and the role of LGBTQ in Catholic Church. Sister Mary John Kuduyero Peel, Executive Vice Secretary of the International Union of Superior General, said she has heard positive news from the 5 sisters from her organization who are participating in the discussion. I see it is getting better, but there have been really moments of frustration where we feel that it is by and large really led by the male hierarchy, she explained. There are many churches and there are many pastors or reverend ministers who are women and they are doing good. So if you look at this, I mean, I rest my case. This is a man's world. What do you think about that? Okay. Now, going straight to Ghana as well. Some stories making the round. There is a legal tussle in Ghana over the Gamanye funeral as court grants an injunction. Now, information coming through says the funeral of the late Gamanye Na Dede Omedru III may face some hurdles. This follows a brewing misunderstanding between the planning committee and the bereaved family. The Gamanye, who died in December 2022, is scheduled to be buried this weekend per the arrangement of the funeral planning committee as approved by the Ghana Traditional Council. However, her family has opposed portions of the said plan, stating that they have not been involved in the process as they ought to per the Ghana tradition. Aggrieved by this, they have secured a restraining order from the High Court to stop the funeral rites of the Gamanye. It is hereby ordered defendants, respondents of the funeral committee chaired by Ni Otinto II, all members of the committee, their previous workmen, assigns, and all persons working through them are restrained from handling, organizing, touching, performing, or dealing with the remains or remains of the late Queen Mother Nadede Omedro III in any manner for a period of 10 days, the court has said. So what is going to happen there? The plaintiffs in the case are Numo Emmanuel T. Antia Way, head of the Antia Way of the Kpong, Ni Ade Oba Asa the second, and Kobia of Antia Way of Kpong, Shipi Anti the first, Saduase Shipi Kpong, Charles Ni Korte, head of Na Dede Omedro Way, a family of Fase Accra, Asafuache Ni Korte, the second. Well, so what is going to happen? Are they going to decide to postpone this funeral arrangement, or what is going to happen there? Let me say good morning to my brother Anthony Adedeji. I hope you are doing very, very, very well. And lots of hearts and love to you. What is the latest update from the Supreme Court verdict this morning? Do you have any different from what I put across earlier on? Well. Listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story from Ghana, and then we'll move on from there. It is around by one other former judge of the Supreme Court. A former justice of the Supreme Court, William Achuguba, has attributed increasing decline in the public trust in the judiciary to a constitutional problem. Now, Justice Achuguba said the problem stems from the appointment process, explaining that the Judicial Council, charged with responsibility to appoint judges, has presidential nominees join in their deliberations. Now, this, he contended, could raise questions about the autonomy of the judiciary and whether political influence play a role in judicial appointments. You want the judiciary to be independent. The Constitution says so. Nonetheless, on the Judicial Council, which recommends justices to be appointed, you have the Attorney General and 4 nominees of the President sitting where they're taking part in the proceedings as to who should be presented for appointment to be the Supreme Court, to the Supreme Court. Where is the independence of the judiciary? We have the executive so strongly present there. Justice Atuguba quiz. He scrutinized the composition of the Judicial Council, noting that the current structure does not discourage political influence. Now, the supreme structure of the Judicial Council has the Chief Justice as chairman, a representative of the Supreme Court, and the various other lower courts, appeals court, high court, etc., the judge advocates general from the armed forces, the director of the police legal directorate, editor of the law reports, 2 members of the bar association, and then the 4 presidential nominees. Why 4 presidential nominees and the attorney general? So making them 5. Oh boy. But well, our judiciary is independent, isn't it? Okay, but Atukuba is saying that does not create enough confidence in that. He goes on further to say, then the representative of the Supreme Court, it also depends on how he stands in relation to the Chief Justice. If he is not independent-minded, he may also always like to side with the Chief Justice. He said, adding that other representatives of the court may also side with the Chief Justice too. The former Supreme Court judge advocated for a change in the composition of the Judicial Council. What do you think? What do you think is the way forward for Ghana as a whole when it comes to the judiciary? The government of Ghana is likely to lose some of its properties in the United Kingdom after it lost $140 million arbitral to GPGC, a subsidiary of international commodity company Trafigura, for the termination of a power deal in 2021. At least 5 properties of the government of Ghana in the UK were attached to the judgment, which Trafigura have been given the power to sell in order to raise the amount of money the court has ordered Ghana to pay them. The High Commissioner of Ghana to the United Kingdom, Papa Owusu Ankuma, has confirmed that the properties of the government of Ghana in the country are likely to be sold due to a failure to pay judgment debt owed Trafigura. He however indicated that out of the 5 properties of Ghana in the UK that were attached to the judgment, only one is likely to be sold: the Regina House, which is used for commercial purposes. The remaining properties, including the High Commissioner's residence, the High Commission, and the Chancery, are all being used for diplomatic purposes and are covered by diplomatic immunity. Now, Regina House is located in central London. It is a 6-story building which is managed wholly by the government of Ghana. Currently, it's been rented by the Ghana International Bank, two other banks, and another commercial entity. Well, so gonna be losing that. Oh boy, our leaders. Well, listeners to this Starr Radio UK, I don't know how even that money coming from that property has actually benefited Ghanaians as a whole. I remember back in the day, one of the days I went to the Regina House where the bank is. That's what they call that bank again. Ghana. It's not Ghana Commercial Bank, but you look at all that. How has it actually benefited us? Ghana International Bank. But well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Another 40 minutes and they will bring the program to a close. So let's go to other parts of the world as well. Well, at least 16 are feared dead in the US city of Lewiston. The story says at least 16 people have reportedly been killed in the US city of Lewiston, Maine, and a search is underway for the gunman. The shootings began at 1856 local time, that is 22 hours GMT, last night on Wednesday. Bowling alley and a restaurant, the police have said. Livingston residents, as well as those in the nearby town of Lisbon, have been told to shelter in places. Now, police named Robert Card, 40, as a person of interest and said he should be considered armed and dangerous. The authorities have not yet confirmed a death toll, but CBS, the BBC's US partner, has said the number is at least 16 after speaking to multiple law enforcement officials. There have been also multiple but unconfirmed reports of at least 50 people injured. Now, Michael Saul-Shock, commissioner in Maine Department of Public Safety, said there have been multiple casualties. Lewiston has a population of around 38,000 people, and it's the second largest city in Maine after Portland. Now, Lewiston police said officers had responded to reports of a shooting at 2 locations: a restaurant called Shimanji's and Spare Time Recreation, a bowling alley, which appeared to be about 4 miles apart. Now, Riley Demont said her 11-year-old daughter had been taking part in the children's bowling league at the bowling alley when she heard several gunshots. She said her father, a retired police officer, had then corralled their family into a corner. I was laying on top of my daughter, she said. My mother was laying on top of me. She added that she saw 3 or 4 apparent victims. Now, Billie Jane Cook, who is running for the city council in Lewiston, said News Channel she had been living on events as details of the shooting emerged as well. Listeners, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Russia has rehearsed its ability to deliver a massive nuclear strike, the Kremlin is saying. The military exercise involved delivering a response to an enemy nuclear strike, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said. A state TV showed him recounting the rehearsal to President Vladimir Putin. It comes as Russia's parliament backed the withdrawal of Moscow's ratification of global treaty that bans all physical testing of nuclear warheads. Now, Russia and the United States conduct regular nuclear readiness simulations. My apologies. Moscow has traditionally held its own toward the end of October. The exercise this year involved delivering a massive nuclear strike by strategic offensive forces in response to an enemy nuclear strike, Mr. Shoigu reported to President Putin. A Kremlin statement said that practical launches of ballistic and cruise missiles had taken place. A Yas intercontinental ballistic missile was fired from a test site in Russia Far East, and another missile was fired from a nuclear-powered submarine in the Barents Sea, the statement said. The Defense Ministry released footage of the test. Now, earlier this month, Mr. Putin said Russia had held a final successful test of nuclear-powered cruise missile, and the experimental weapon, first announced in 2018, was hailed as having a potentially unlimited range. But President Putin accounts has not been independently confirmed. The latest test will be seen as a display of force which coincides with Moscow's de-ratifying an international nuclear test ban treaty. Parliament completed the passage of a law that withdraws Russia's ratification of the treaty on Wednesday. Listeners, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well. As Bob Marley said, war in the east, war in the west, war down south, war everywhere. Now, it looks like U.S. President Joe Biden has warned China that the U.S. will defend the Philippines in case of any attack in the disputed South China Sea. The comments come days after two collisions between Filipino and Chinese vessels in the contested waters. Mr. Biden reiterated his ironclad defense commitment to the Philippines. Manila has contested Chinese claims to the waters, cutting floating barriers and inviting media to film what it calls Beijing dangerous moves at sea. Mr. Biden's statement on the South China Sea on Wednesday was his strongest since tension between Beijing and Manila heated up in recent months. I want to be very clear. The United States defense commitment to the Philippines is ironclad. The United States defense agreement with the Philippines is ironclad, he said. Signed in 1951, the Mutual Defense Treaty binds the U.S. and the Philippines, its former colony, into defending each other in the event of an armed attack. Any attack on the Filipino aircraft vessel or armed forces will invoke our Mutual Defense Treaty with the Philippines, he added in his speech. And the White House on Wednesday as he welcomed Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Well, listeners, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. We're getting straight to the end of the program. As I did say, this is a special program that's coming your way just to be testing all the setups that were done so that our technical team can tie all the loose ends to make sure that it's all working nicely. Now, have you got a kid or a ward in the university? So as a parent, how are you affording the accommodation? Boy, oh boy, it's skyrocketing now, you know. The accommodation costs take up almost the average maintenance loan received by university students in England, says Student Housing Charity, Unipo. Now, students are illegally doubling up in rooms and working said Unipo, which researched the issue with Higher Education Policy Institute, HEPI. In the last 2 years, average student rent has gone up by 14.6%, while maintenance loans have risen by only 5.2%. The Department for Education said concerned students should ask for help. In a statement, said our student finance system ensures that highest level of support are targeted at students from the lowest income families. If students are worried about their circumstances, we urge them to speak to their universities. But have you been found wanting in that? And what are you going to be doing about that? Well. It is Starr Radio UK. A couple of stories and then we'll bring the program to a close. The government could face a judicial review after excluding some health workers from a one-off bonus. It was part of a pay deal for more than 1 million NHS staff in England this year and was to recognize the pressure of COVID pandemic on staff. But thousands of outsourced staff, such as community nurses and physiotherapists, will not receive it. A decision described as injustice. The government said it was considering its position. One physiotherapist who works in homes, NHS hospitals and clinics in Surrey said she felt completely demoralized when she was told she would not receive the payment. Our team worked throughout the pandemic. We worked incredibly hard. We were treating patients in the community, trying to keep them out of the hospital to help prevent more admissions for those hospitals which were overwhelmed. We worked tirelessly, she said. Now, Ms. Tolit is among those workers who did not qualify for the payment of between £1,655 and £3,789 because they were not directly employed by the NHS. Interesting. Let me take good morning to some of to all our health workers. Let me put it that way. I think it sums it up nicely, right? Right. Okay, now to the final story, and then we'll bring the program to a close. Artificial intelligence could help make it easier to build chemical and biological weapons, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has warned. In a worst-case scenario, society could lose all control over AI, preventing it from being switched off. The Prime Minister said that while the potential for harm is disputed, we must not put our heads in the sand over AI risks, he argued. In a speech aiming to present the UK as a world leader on AI, the Prime Minister said the tech was already creating new jobs. He added that the development of the technology will catalyze economic growth and productivity. The Prime Minister on Thursday morning set out the capabilities and potential risks posed by AI, including cyber attacks, fraud, and child sexual abuse, following the publication of a government report. Mr. Sunak said the risks of human extinction should be a global priority, before adding, this is not a risk that people need to be losing sleep over right now, and I don't want to be an alarmist. Experts are divided about the threats posed by the AI and previous fears about other newly emerging technologies have not fully materialized. So are we going to see like what was happening that they were saying that when we're going to cross from 1999 the 20th century into the 21st century, where they were talking about the fact that hey, there's going to be and even if you are flying, I remember I flew to Ghana at the time, and this instead of me, I wanted to fly on the 31st and get there for the 1st. But the way they were going about it, that if the plane, there's a computer glitch or something will happen and there will be all that crash and all that stuff. So I had to leave, I think, the 27th or the 28th. I think I left on the 28th. Boom. So that I will avoid all that. So you can just imagine the fear and panic that this poses. But what do you think about AI? As I did say earlier on during the introductory part of the program, I was talking about the fact that whilst I was away. I was using the AI in doing few things, designing stuff, and it was like, whoa, what's that, man? It was very, very, very good. But what do you think about all that? What do you think? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. And let me say thank you very much to each and every one of you for tuning in this morning to listen to us on this program. Tomorrow, God willing, we'll come with another program for you, a Friday edition, of course. But for now, enjoy this song from the Zongo Man. It says The Problem of Africa. When that song ends and you don't hear from me, then it's been me, Archie, saying that. Have a lovely day and see you all later. Bye-bye for now.
The problem of Africa is the elite. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is the elite. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Them all go to university.
Thanks for listening.